So, hello guys, welcome back to my channel. And finally, after a 2-year absence, I would like to welcome back Mercedes-Benz back to my channel. Well, this is not officially from Katz Motors, BGC, Green Hills, so on and so forth. Name all the Mercedes dealers. So, yet again, I'd like to thank, I don't know how many cars this man has, Julian Dumpit, for making this review possible again. Yeah, I already reviewed some of his cars. You may find them on my channel. But I never guessed that he'll buy a Mercedes C200 Kompressor. Yes, this is a somewhat middle trim of the Mercedes C-Class at its time. Remember, this is the W168 body. There are a lot of trims with this C-Class because this is an avant-garde trim. So you can get an elegant trim which sits below this and the AMG line. You get 17-inch alloy wheels and disc brakes all around. They look big and imposing, but seeing it in person, it's pretty much a standard tire. And this is probably my favorite looking of all the C-Classes. There's just something I like with this W204 body style, because probably I blame Jeremy Clarkson when he reviewed with the C63 AMG. We have again a large Mercedes badge over here. Unlike the elegance trim, this does not have the hood ornament. It's just a regular badge. And the ground clearance is 157 millimeters. We will test it out later on because I've driven, no video review of it yet, a W206. We've driven around here, Promenade, Green Hills. It kind of script on a lot of humps, so I want to see if this will do the same too. So being a 2009 Model 2, you have halogen lights over here and fog lamps too. The biggest highlight for me with this C200 compressor is the engine. So, open the C200 compressor's hood up. You have gas struts, and like all Mercedes, if you want your mechanics to have more space to work around the engine, this hood can extend up to 90 degrees. Very much similar to a race car. That is so cool. I mean, look, it's already taller than me. So, what we have here is a 1.8-liter supercharged 4-cylinder engine that produces 184 horsepower and 250 Newton meters of torque. And it is mated to the ever-reliable 5-speed automatic transmission. So, this is your supercharger right here. So, the lower trims like the C180 only get a turbocharged engine. So, this is actually the first time I'm gonna be driving a supercharged engine too. And it sounds pretty raspy too. So, that's about it here in front. And the engine of the Mercedes C200 compressor. Show you the rear. So here now at the rear of the Mercedes C200 compressor. So you have the very long name, the compressor badge over here, and the C200 badge, and the lovely Mercedes badge over here. So one thing I never noticed about C-Classes in general, I guess, all thanks to Fifth Gear's Johnny Smith, there are vents here on the taillight. That is such a cool attention to detail. And being a compressor, only a supercharged engine, this is the thing I never realized too. This supercharged variant only has one exhaust pipe. If you get the turbocharged engine, they have dual exhaust pipes. I never knew about that. So open the boot up. Okay, this is pretty deep too. So in total, you have 455 liters of space. The seats do not fold down whatsoever, but as you can see, you can go all the way in, just like that. And there are 2 grocery hooks on each side. Halogen only here on the right side, and probably the heaviest underfloor storage I've ever carried. It reveals your space saver donut type tire. And as you can see, this battery, it's pretty heavy. That's a good size comparison in the boot. So if you're planning to change batteries for a C200 compressor, or in general this W204 Mercedes, it will cost you 15,000 pesos. Sayonara. So that's about it here too with the boot. I'll show you the interior. So this is the interior of the Mercedes C200 compressor. So as well, this is the key for the car, and it's very like a Porsche. You just literally insert this, but unlike a Porsche, once you insert it, you just literally click it and it will start. And I'm not sure if you can hear this. You can actually hear the supercharger whine. Right, let's turn this aircon on first. So once you start the car, immediately notice something in the instrument cluster. So they are the usual analog, and I noticed the needle of the speedometer comes from the outside. In the middle of it, it's a monochromatic display. And you can adjust them here on the left side of the steering wheel, and on your right side you have for your phone connectivity buttons and a voice command for this. So there's no infotainment system here, but you open this thing in the middle, you're greeted with a monochromatic display again that illuminates the Mercedes logo too. That is pretty cool. So I just saw it too. Now there is a front parking sensor right here above the dashboard. And what's cool, there is no reverse camera for the C200, but you have reverse sensors there in the back. You can actually see it in your rear view mirror, which is really cool. You have a chrome Mercedes-Benz logo here on the carpet, the glove box. Okay, Julian took note of this. The dampening part hasn't arrived yet. That's why it's not as smooth once you open it. But as you can see, you can fit a lot of stuff in it. So here in the steering wheel, oh, pretty soft. Wow. Basically, the interior here is beautiful. I love this classic look of Mercedes, especially here in the center where you have your telephone functions. This is so cool. I love this old school Mercedes look. Imagine the older ones. A few blank buttons here, parking sensor button, and then further down below you have your air conditioning controls. Everything here is chrome, and every material here is soft touch here and there. And let's not forget the creamy-ish beige seats here. They're really, really soft to sit in, and probably one of the most comfortable I've sat in. But surprisingly, there's more bolstering than usual. It's no BMW, but this is meant to be a cruiser according to Julian too. That's why I want to drive this too. Here in the door card, more squeegee material here and there. Not much plastic, surprisingly. Even the plastic here in the cabby space is covered with fabric. You have your boot release button here, speakers, and then over here, as you can see, you have a silver trim over here. And then probably these are the most angled window switches I've ever seen. It's like almost a near 90-degree angle, but it's so cool. You can just literally click it like that. Here on the left side you have your light controls, very similar to a Volkswagen. I won't be able to demo it because it's so confusing for me. And probably this is the coolest foot brake I've ever seen. Yes, it's a foot brake. It's really, really old school, but watch this. So to activate it, you push it, right? But if you see this latch here, you just pull it and the parking brake disengages. I've never seen something like that. So it must be a lazy design, but the ergonomics of it is pretty good, I have to say. And put you back on. And then here in the gear lever surrounding it is more of silver trim, aluminum trims here too. So if you get the elegance trim, that's more of the brownish leather thing, I assume. I don't know, by the way, because I only prepared for this avant-garde trim and an AMG trim thanks to Karlheinz. So yeah, everything here is aluminum, and then soft squeegee materials over here. And I like there's no gloss black here, but they're present here for your comfort and sport settings for the transmission. But that's the only button you'll be pressing that's gloss black, which is cool. And then you have more buttons here, your swivel wheel for the monochromatic display, and then you have two cup holders here, very small. And then I love this center console box. You can open it on either side, but however, if you're a small person like me, I'm 5'4", the seat already covers the button. So yeah, you have to watch out for that if you're planning to buy this. That center console box, it's small, it can fit CDs. At least there's still space in it. So speaking of CDs, so this old school layout of Mercedes has a 6 CD stacker. So you can put 6 CDs inside stacked to one another, hence it's called a CD stacker. Yeah, I miss this. I miss CDs in general. Anyway, up above here you have your light control. So I found 2 buttons here, so I'm clicking it. I'm not sure where the lights are turning on. I found out the 2 buttons open the lights here below the rear view mirror. So that's actually the reason, in case you're reading something like this, my script, it will perfectly lit up to whatever you're reading. That's so cool. And then visor, you have a vanity mirror with light again here. Don't extend. I was expecting this to extend. Anyway, yeah, that's what it's all about. Pretty simple here in the interior. I don't mind it. It's still a Mercedes. So yeah, so that's about it here in front of the Mercedes C200 Kompressor. Wait, before we get to the rear, I just noticed something right now. I'm looking at the side mirrors. I never realized how wide this car is because of the wheel fenders. So it kind of carries the trait of the C63 AMG. So, right. Enough with the fanboy. Let's go to the rear seats. So here in the rear of the Mercedes C200, tank-like build. So, few more things I missed in front. I just saw them before I transferred my camera over here. On the right passenger side, there is actually net storage. You can literally fit small boxes, surprisingly. Weirdly, with these W204s, so for reclining and adjusting your thigh supports for the seats is electronically operated. But for moving the seat forward and backwards, it's manually adjusted, which I find really weird. Did you just put it all electronic for some reason? And for the driver's seat itself, there's lumbar support here. Sadly, it's not available for the right front passenger side. So surprisingly, being a C-Class, space here in the back is pretty good. Feet room, knee room, and headroom is excellent throughout. So comfy here in the back. Although according to Julian Dumpit, his experience only, since he was actually thinking about getting an E93 series manual, similar to Alex of J. Walker. Yeah, the space here in the back, according to him, is a little bit more tighter than that of the Beamers itself. But still pretty good for me here. So in the door card, very similar to like the ones in front. So no water jug test because the cabin space is too small here. But where you can put your cup is here in the central armrest. So open this one up, you have a very big space, enough for phones, and two more cup holders here. So that's where my big water jug can fit. Can literally fit two of my phones here in the storage, which is pretty cool. And the seats here still cream and very comfortable to sit in here. The headrest is a little bit too forward for my liking, but still nonetheless comfortable. Excellent lumbar support too, and the thigh support too, let's not forget. So there are two coat hangers here on each side, and as I told you earlier, these are your reverse sensors here, and you have two lights over here. There are only halogens too. You have two map pockets on each side, and then two air conditioning vents here, thank goodness. And if I sit here in the middle, I will not advise it because of the transmission tunnel. This is a typical thing with the Germans and Italians. Yeah, the transmission tunnel is too high. I mean, you can see my knee. So, but you can put your feet beside it at least. So, for short trips, yeah, sitting here in the middle will be alright too, I guess. But you're already too close to the lights over here. And that's my headroom left if I sit here in the middle. So yeah, small adults and kids will be recommended here in the middle. Yeah, so that's about it here with the rear interior of the Mercedes C200 Kompressor. I cannot wait. Let's go for a dive. So for once, I'd never thought about it. Thanks again to Julian. I do a backseat review of this. So going out of the car park and going over humps here like this thing's so damn comfortable. And let's not forget, these are running on wide tires. I'll just put it here on screen. The NVH here is above par, I have to say. It's so comfortable and so quiet here in the cabin. Such a nice experience, maybe because I have not ridden a Mercedes in a long time, 2 years to be exact. And then you can tell already the engine's pretty smooth. And wow, this is so good. They're already running at what? 50 kilometers per hour, not much tire noise. This is the nice thing about Mercedes cars. Even for all the base, the A-classes, so on and so forth, you feel like a VIP every time you sit here in the back of a Mercedes. They always feel special. For the BMWs, I know I've sat once behind a 720i. Okay, it felt special, but knowing it was a BMW, I'd rather be behind the wheel. So this is another thing with Mercedes, aka Chedengs. You'd rather sit in the back in all Mercedes, unless you're in an SLS, AMG GT. That's my kind of cars. But I was thinking about getting an E-Class W212 because my mom loves that and I love that too. That Mercedes holds a special place in our heart. So this is the closest I'll get so far with the Mercedes of its era too. Remember, this is a 2009 model. Yeah, I'd really be happy to own one of these again. And ownership experience so far with Julian been pretty reliable. I know for sure the transmission will be as good as, must say, as a Toyota. According to some of the forums I've seen, and knowing this was the 5-speed automatic, they're pretty robust too. So maintenance and whatnot of Mercedes, they tend to be expensive. But for this one, since this is a pretty old one already, the ownership is not too bad. For example, Julian spends around 10 to 15,000 per service. That's the general service already, with all the change oils, general vehicle check, everything. That's pretty good already, I have to say, for what this is, mind you. And according to him and the family mechanics, This one's not running on synthetic oil, surprisingly. This is running on conventional mineral oil, but it's a bit lighter than the one we all use and what I use. So this C200 compressor mineral oil is run at 15W20. Mine run on 40. This is, yeah, this is a bit lighter than usual. And then here na around the EDSA, jeez, that's pretty good. I mean, this is already a tough part of EDSA and in front of Mercedes Greenius. Excuse me. Yeah, the bumps here are pretty bad. I've driven a Subaru WRX STI here, and now this Mercedes. Miles apart, the comfort. It's pretty amazing in here. Yeah, soaks the humps and bumps pretty well too. And I think you can hear a bit of suspension touch. Remember, this is a Mercedes, so the suspension here is a little bit stiffer than usual. Yeah, you can feel a little bit of bounce here and there, but it's not too bad. It's not as stiff as a BMW, I can tell that already, but it's much more comfortable than that of the latter. So right, before I immediately start driving this thing, I almost indicated, but I was about to click the cruise control. So the indicator is a bit lower than usual. And remember, this automatic transmission is a little bit gated. And how you change gears manually, it's left to right. So right is going up a gear, to the left is shifting down the gear. And look at that attention to detail again, the indicator. This is pretty cool. And as well, this is not an electronic power assisted steering wheel. This is a hydraulic steering. You can literally, look, turn with ease. Look at the maneuverability. I'm gonna make a 7. Pretty good too. And without further ado, sport mode. Oh wow. Alright. I hope you can hear that on camera. You can hear the supercharger whine. Okay. Right, being a supercharged engine, similarly like a turbocharged engine, but it does the opposite. So instead of giving you all the torque at the low end, this one gives you at the higher end of the RPM. So it still acts like a naturally aspirated engine. So the power is still linear. It's not like you floor it and gives you all the boost in the world, but the response is pretty good too. Right, that's just sport. I've not tried comfort yet, so let's just relax for a moment. So being a 5-speed automatic transmission too, yeah, the gearing is pretty long. That's a common classic thing with Mercedes with this type of transmission. And yeah, pretty easy to drive, and the steering does not change even though you change it to sport mode. And then here just comfort mode, and I'll floor it. Ah, okay, there's a little bit more delay, but still the response time is pretty good too. It's better than most cars that I tried out. Yeah, I can tell the drive of this and the ride. It's no BMW 3 Series, but pretty sporty enough. And this is what I want to test out too with this W204, since we've driven a W206. Yes, I was still with Julian that time. Is this hump. So with the W206, we tend to scrape the middle of this. So this being higher ground clearance, easy, thank God. I don't know what the W206 stands at, but yeah, that one's really low since that had the hybrid system. So that will hopefully be another review coming soon, the W206. So with this W204, it feels so good driving a classic Mercedes. I mean, what to say about it? I don't mind being behind the wheel because of this. A little bit delay in comfort mode, but that high speed is pretty quick. So remember, the 0 to 100 kilometer time of this is done in 8.4 seconds, which is on par with the current G20 318i. That's pretty amazing. And the top speed of this is probably limited to 230 kilometers per hour, which is still respectable. But here in the Philippines, you won't get in that speeds anyways. So weird, driving a hydraulic steering wheel, but it acts like an electronic power steering because it's so light. I've not experienced this, call me crazy, since my car. And my own car have a hydraulic power assisted steering wheel, but it's pretty light in the end. But this one handles way better than my car, of course, because mine handles like a boat. Yeah, and going over EDSA again, my turn to drive it. This C200 is a little bit more sportier than I once thought, because of course I'm comparing it with a G20-318i and just handing information with the E90 thanks to Julian's experience. Yeah, this is a little bit more sportier than usual. I mean, it won't handle as good as a BMW, but the ride of it is stiff too, but this one's a tad more comfortable than that of the latter. Pretty amazing. I'm so honored to drive a Mercedes after 2 years. I don't recommend my GLA review because that's my first ever review, and yeah, I mean, if you wanna watch it, why not? Compare my review to before and after. And this is the other thing you have to watch out with this C200, well, W204 in general, is the fenders. They said earlier, it's kinda wide, so you have to watch out for that. Same experience what I had with the WRX STI. So let's try sport mode and try manual mode. Okay, that's first gear. Oh, okay, that's a little bit sluggish. Yeah, anyway, I'll put you back to automatic because it's plenty fast enough.
To turn it off, you sort of click and hold the upshift button like paddle shifters.
Like 3 seconds,
yeah.
Or for a few seconds. Oh, alright. Nice, you learn something every day. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit of an old school thing to this Mercedes. I love the supercharger whine, it's so cool. Remember, this has 250 Newton meters of torque, which is pretty still good in today's standards. I mean, it won't be as loud as a Dodge Challenger supercharger because that sounds like this. Wee, wee. This one's just like a minute sound of the supercharger. It's still pretty cool. So yeah, literally this is Julian's new ride, and not much he can say with fuel economy, but a lot of things he done with the maintenance. So surprisingly, with my heavy-footed driving, I've been doing 5 kilometers per liter, but now a little bit lighter pace, and with this drive earlier when I was at the back, we've been doing 13.8 liters per 100 kilometers, so that's 7.2 kilometers per liter. Not bad for what this is. I think that's just as efficient as a BMW 3 Series. Remember, I'm only referring to the G20 because I've not driven an E90 yet. So actually, this market value now is at 745,000 pesos, depending on the condition of the car. But this one, I mean, I showed the interior again. This looks almost brand new. The previous owner of this kept this at a pristine condition. It's so special to be in here. So at 745,000 pesos, it's a steal. Would I own one? Maybe. Just maybe. I'm still biased with that W212 E-Class though. That's what I want. But for a C-Class, what, the entry-level Mercedes, if we don't talk about the A-Class though, this one's pretty good. So finally, after 2 years, getting my hands again on a Mercedes, yeah, this one's a good shout. I love this thing. So for, again, 745,000 pesos for the C-Class. I can't believe that's the price right now of this Mercedes. I mean, if you know what you're doing and if you want, what, something different, for this price point, you can literally get what, a Celerio, Suzuki Desire. When we're seeing Suzuki's all of a sudden. Anyway, that's because that's the price point of these things now. I mean, if you know what you're doing and if you have the money for the maintenance and whatnot, know what to change here and there, get a C-Class because these things are pretty damn good. Would it replace my Corolla? Not a chance though, but I would be happy as this as a second car because it's a Mercedes. Enough said. So a few more things driving it. Annoying me is the indicator. It's too low than usual. I keep accidentally hitting the cruise control stop. But driving this around town, the steering is something I've never experienced. A light but yet direct steering. Yeah, this is something else. I love this C-Class. So yeah, that concludes my review of this C200 Kompressor. Brakes are pretty good too, and yeah, the handling of this, you'll enjoy this in the twisties. yeah, again, this concludes my review of this C200 compressor. I'd like to thank Julian Tumpit for making this review possible, and thank him again for making me review a Mercedes car after 2 years. That as well started my entire YouTube channel because of that GLA. Yeah, what an honor. Thank you again so much. So hope you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you with more future car reviews, and hopefully more Mercedes reviews, and probably the W206 review. Hopefully that will come soon too, because I can't wait to talk about that car too. Bye bye.